There is a moment every morning when you forget to lie. It lasts only seconds. That space between sleep and waking, when you first catch your reflection and haven't yet remembered who you're supposed to be. In that moment, you see your real face, the one no camera has ever captured, the one no one else knows. But then, you remember. You remember the script, the role, the version of yourself you've been building, piece by piece, year by year, until you can barely remember which parts are real and which parts are performance. And so you begin again, the daily ritual of transformation, the act of becoming someone else, someone acceptable, someone likable, someone worthy of love. But what if the person you're trying so hard to become is the very thing standing between you and the life you actually want? Who are you before you put your face on? Not your makeup, your face, the one you wear out into the world, the one that knows how to smile at the right moments, laugh at the right jokes, express concern at the right tragedies. We learn this young. We learn which parts of us are acceptable and which must be hidden, which emotions are allowed and which make others uncomfortable, which truths can be spoken and which must remain locked away. And so we construct ourselves, carefully, methodically. We curate our clothes like costume designers. We modulate our voices like actors. We edit our stories like scriptwriters, emphasizing certain chapters, omitting others entirely. Every morning we put on our face. And here's what no one tells you. After enough years of this, you forget what you looked like without it. You forget where the mask ends and the skin begins. You forget which thoughts are yours and which were given to you by people who loved you conditionally. The ancient Greeks had a word, persona. It meant mask, the face an actor wore on stage so the audience could see their character from far away. Somewhere along the way, we confused the persona with the person, the mask with the face, the performance with the life. And now we're trapped, playing a role we never auditioned for, in a play we never chose, for an audience that's barely paying attention. Your reflection sees everything. It sees you at 3 a.m. when you can't sleep, scrolling through photos of a life that looks nothing like yours. It sees you cry in the shower where no one can hear. It sees you stare at your phone, composing and deleting the same text 40 times, trying to find the words that sound casual enough, unbothered enough, normal enough. It sees the weight you carry that no one asks about, the dreams you stopped mentioning because they made people uncomfortable, the person you used to be before you learned to shrink yourself to fit into rooms that were never built for you. Your reflection knows the truth. You are exhausted. Exhausted from holding your stomach in, from monitoring your laugh to make sure it's not too loud, from calculating every word before you speak, from pretending you don't need what you need, feel what you feel, want what you want. You spend hours crafting the version of you the world wants to see. But your reflection remembers who you were before the performance began. It remembers the child who danced without wondering if anyone was watching, who cried without permission, who loved without strategy, who existed without apology. And it grieves. Not for who you are now, but for who you could have been if you'd never learned to lie. The philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre had a term for this, mauvaise foi, bad faith. It's not quite lying. It's something more insidious. It's lying to yourself so convincingly that you forget you're lying. It's performing a role so completely that you believe the performance is you. Sartre watched a waiter in a Paris cafe. The way he moved too precisely, spoke too cheerfully, embodied waiterness so perfectly that he ceased to be a human being who happens to wait tables and became a waiter. Nothing more, nothing less. The waiter chose this, not consciously perhaps, but he chose to hide behind the role because roles are safe. Roles tell you what to do, how to be, what to say. Roles protect you from the terrifying burden of freedom. Because here is Sartre's uncomfortable truth. You are radically free. At every moment you are choosing. Even when you claim you have no choice, you are choosing. Even when you say, I had to, you didn't. You chose. And that freedom is paralyzing. Because if you're free, you're responsible. For your life, for your choices, for the person you've become. It's easier to pretend you're not free. To say, this is just who I am, or this is what people expect, or I don't have a choice. To hide behind the role, to act in bad faith. We become the good employee, the perfect parent, the supportive friend, the strong one, the funny one, the one who has it all together. We wear these identities like armor, forgetting that armor is meant to protect the person inside, not replace them. But the armor grows heavy, and after years of wearing it, you realize you've forgotten there was ever a person underneath. The performance has a cost. It costs energy, the constant monitoring, the eternal vigilance, the exhausting work of maintaining the illusion. Every interaction becomes a calculation. Every word is weighed. Every expression is controlled. It costs connection, because when people fall in love with your performance, they're not falling in love with you. They're falling in love with the character you're playing, and you live in constant fear that if they ever see the real you, they'll leave. So you double down. You perform harder, you perfect the act, and the gap between who you are and who you pretend to be grows wider, until one day you realize you have friends who don't know you, a partner who loves someone you're not, a family who would be shocked by your actual thoughts, a life built on a foundation of acceptable lies. You are surrounded by people and utterly alone. Because here's what performance does. It protects you from rejection by preventing connection. If no one ever sees the real you, no one can reject the real you. But if no one ever sees the real you, no one can truly love you either. You become a ghost in your own life. Present but not there. Seen but not known. Loved but not for anything real. And the cruelest part, after years of this, you start to wonder if there even is a real you anymore. Maybe the performance is all there is. Maybe you've played the role so long that you've become it. Maybe the mask has fused with your face, and there's nothing underneath but more masks, all the way down. This is the final stage of bad faith, not just lying to others, but successfully lying to yourself. Forgetting you ever made a choice, believing the performance is reality, and then one day, in a moment of quiet, you catch a glimpse of yourself, really see yourself, and you don't recognize what's looking back. But here's the truth that Sartre understood, that your reflection knows, that some part of you has always known. You don't need to be liked. You need to be real. And real is messy. Real is complicated. Real is tired. Real doesn't always smile back. Real gets angry. Real feels too much or not enough. Real wants things that aren't acceptable to want. Real is scared and brave and petty and generous, sometimes all in the same hour. Real contradicts itself. Real changes its mind. Real doesn't have all the answers. Real admits when it's wrong. Real cries at stupid things and laughs at inappropriate moments. Real is human. And somewhere along the way, we decided that human wasn't enough. That human needed to be polished, filtered, improved, optimized. That human was the rough draft and the performance was the final version. But it's the opposite. The performance is the rough draft. It's the sketch, the placeholder, the thing you put out into the world when you're too afraid to show the real thing. The real thing, that messy, complicated, exhausted, beautiful real thing, that's the masterpiece. Not because it's perfect, because it's true. And truth, even uncomfortable truth, even difficult truth, even truth that makes people look away, truth is the only foundation strong enough to build a real life on. Everything else is sand. Everything else will eventually wash away, leaving you standing on nothing, wondering why you feel so empty despite being surrounded by success. So here's your choice. And it is a choice, always a choice, no matter how much you pretend it isn't. You can keep performing. You can maintain the illusion. You can spend your one wild and precious life perfecting a version of yourself that doesn't exist, hoping that maybe someday the performance will be so good that you'll forget it's a performance. Or you can stop, not dramatically, not all at once, not by burning everything down and starting over. Just stop, right now, this moment. Let your face do what it wants. Let your shoulders drop. Let the exhaustion show. Let the sadness surface. Let the anger speak. Let the joy be uncontainable. Let yourself be exactly as you are, in this moment, without apology. It will feel terrifying. It will feel like falling, like losing control, like standing naked in front of a crowd. And some people will be uncomfortable. Some people will look away. Some people will leave, because they fell in love with your performance, and when you stop performing, they won't know what to do with the real you. Let them go. Because the people who stay, the ones who lean in when you drop the mask, who meet your eyes when you finally tell the truth, who love the messy reality of you more than the polished fiction, those are your people. And it only takes a few of them, Sometimes just one. Sometimes just you and your reflection, finally being honest with each other. That's enough. That's more than enough. That's everything. Your reflection will always remember who you are, even when you forget, even when you lose yourself in the performance, even when you spend years, decades, becoming someone else. It will be there waiting patiently, ready to remind you. All you have to do is look, really look, without flinching, without filtering, without lying. And when you finally see yourself, the real, exhausted, beautiful mess of yourself, you might not like everything you see, but you'll know it's true. And truth, however uncomfortable, is the only thing that can set you free. Not free from judgment, not free from pain, not free from the weight of being human, but free from the exhausting work of pretending. Free to be tired, free to be messy, free to be yourself exactly as you are in all your imperfect, contradictory, gloriously human reality. Stop performing. Start existing. The world doesn't need another performance. It needs you, the real you. Your reflection has been waiting. It will keep waiting, for as long as it takes. The only question is, how much longer will you make it wait?